There are so many things on my screen when I stream on YouTube. Where is my stuff? There's my stuff. Now I can't see it. There we go. Okay. I think that's everything I meant to have up. Hi. Good evening. You should get a third monitor. It's too many. I don't have room. Well, I probably do have room on my desk if I did one like vertically, but I don't know. I don't know about that. Anyway, hi, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Hello Jeff, hello Hugs, hello Circuit, hello Chicken, hello, hi. How we doing? If you stream in VR, you can have infinite more. That's true. I haven't tried streaming in VR. I haven't really tried setting up like a space for myself in VR yet. But now that the weather's cooling down, I can start to use it more often. Gotta have the day trader set up. Day trader set up? I can't put a monitor above because I'm not in an actual room. I have about, I'd say maybe 8 inches of clearance above my monitors, and then I hit the roof because I have the sloped ceiling because I'm in the attic. So yeah, I actually could not. Well, unless I found some kind of way to mount the monitors on the sloped ceiling. I don't think I'm doing that. Hello, Robert. Hello. Greeting. Good evening. You know, whatever time of day it is. Sorry, I was just checking. I do actually have my bookmark in the right place in this book. This is the first time that any of these short stories have forced me to pause halfway through. How many pages is this? 297 to... Oh. Okay, it's only about 30 pages. Okay, that makes sense. I think the sloped monitors would look cool. I don't know, I feel like leaning my head back to look at the sloped monitor. I mean, maybe from like a... So if you have your monitors above, but they're just like pointing straight forward, I guess you're looking looking at it from a low angle. So, sorry, I'm bouncing my leg and it makes the mic bounce, and I don't know if that's audible or not. I'm really sorry if that's audible. I've been like bouncing my leg for the past like 3 hours. As I was saying, yeah, if you have it sloped, I suppose when you look up, you will actually be looking directly at it, which is almost more correct. Really? You think that was Lickitung coming into my mind? I don't know what I was trying to say. One day, there's gonna be a setup. You walk into a dome, just a dome of screens. That sounds kind of sick, actually. I guess you can already do that if you own a... What's the word? You know that you can go to the places where they have like the star maps on the ceiling? There's stuff to do with astronomy? Orrery. Observatory was the word I was trying to think of, but yeah, an orrery is the same thing, I think. Planetary, yeah, those. Yeah. And if you bought one of those and you just turned the planetarium into a big computer screen. And I said hello Azure. There's a whole quest in RuneScape about one. How could sorry, I know it was such an important quest, that one. Can't believe I knew the word orrery. Thank you, Fury. The sphere in Vegas. So that's the opposite. You can't look at the entire sphere at the same time because it goes outwards. I need one that faces inwards. I'm going to turn the sphere in Vegas inside out. That kind of put a weird thought in my mind. Whatever, it's fine. But yeah, hi. How we doing? It is Tuesday night. Or Wednesday morning, depending where you are. Let's all go to Las Vegas' worst attraction together at the worst time to visit places in the US. Let's go! Yeah, I mean, I got my Esther. They'll let me in. Yeah, no. I'm good, thanks. The Clown Motel? Wait, the Clown Motel? Wait, what do you mean the clown? Wait, what? Hold on, I'm googling this. What is the Clown Motel? The Clown Motel. Oh my god. Named America's Scariest Motel due to the clown theme and proximity to a cemetery. What? Yo guys, this is awful. I love it. What the hell? This is the worst thing I've ever seen. This is oh my, is that actually a picture of the inside one of the rooms? It's got clowns all over the walls, and like the bed sheets have like handprint, like big black handprints and like blood splatters and stuff. Wait, and there's the guy from Pan's Labyrinth. Why is the guy from Pan's Labyrinth in one of the bedrooms? That's not a clown. It's a scary guy from Pan's Labyrinth. Who not only gave the except to the motel created the new identity as a woofer and placed the collection from 600 clown statues to 4,000 pieces of clown memorabilia. I mean, I'm impressed. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. I like clown stuff, but like, that's crazy. This is crazy. Okay, some of the rooms are slightly more normal. Okay, it really does just have a cemetery next door. There's like a barren. You literally you look to the side and there's just graves. Famously mean and rude to customers. Rooms are famously dirty and it's famous being a bad place to be. Incredible. Do you think that'd be nice to you if you turned up actually dressed like a clown? This is the motel for me, right? Don't know what that voice was, don't ask. Hi, Tramatel. Yeah, that's crazy. It's interesting. They give you a free room? Hope so. Okay, I did not know the clown motel existed. Well, it is both awful and wonderful at the same time. But I have already told myself that the only reason I would go to Las Vegas is to just justify that I am correct in thinking that I would hate Vegas. Like, I know I would hate Las Vegas. It's out of the way from Las Vegas, then I'm not going. Then that's, if I'm, oh god, I'm not spending any extra time in Nevada. That's a desert. That's how to kill me. I already know there are several states I can't go to because the temperatures will destroy me. And Nevada is one of them. I think Arizona is another desert one. I'm not going there. Can't think of any other states. I've forgotten every other state. I don't know how deserty Texas is, and Texas is a huge state, so I can't really comment. Just go in the winter. But then I'm like missing the most tolerable time of year in the UK. Wandering on the federal land is pretty cool. Federal land, is that like national parks and stuff, or? I think I drove where the Navy stores it's used. Yo! Wait, is that like one of the places where they have all like the spikes and stuff? Like above the ground? Because they did all the research into like, oh, you know, if English isn't understood then how can we put a visual sign that people should not like dig here? That this is a place that people should not be. Which I personally don't think would work, because I would see a bunch of spikes sticking out of the ground. I'd be like, sick, I'm building my house here. No, that's something else? Oh, that's a shame. I think that stuff is really cool. Radiation is terrifying, but also really cool. I love radiation. It's like one of my favorite things in science. It's what I enjoyed doing the most in physics. Anyway. More just undeveloped land owned by government that people go on. It's not maintained or anything. Oh, okay. Serious scientists writing a song about glowing cats? Wait, what? Wait, I don't know what that is. 10,000 years. Geologists get to the root of these strange land masses. Humans of the past believed them to be haunted. I mean, I feel like you can probably make... you can probably make a solid case for some areas of discarded nuclear waste being haunted. Like, not from an actual haunted point of view, but I mean, like, obviously, so if there was a leak and a bunch of stuff escaped, that it would, like, you know how when you start filming anything radioactive, like, you get static and electronics, like, mess up. Like, that stuff can that can be mistaken for hauntedness. Fire up most of the radioactive leftovers, which these reactors could do. Oh yeah, I mean, not to have a nuclear energy debate, but I do believe it is it can be a very clean form of energy. But it's just, you know, well, you know, everyone remembers Chernobyl very well, even though, you know, we're far past that. I said a lot along with the place you ever need to get into the nuclear. Oh, sick. Thank you. I will look into that. Did my Wikipedia link get shadow banned? Yes. Yes, it did. Don't you love YouTube? But then how will oil and gas companies make money? I know. Look up Raycat. I nearly wrote Rat Cat. Raycat, like Raymond from Animal Crossing? Oh my god! A proposed kind of cat! What the heck? As a proposed long-term nuclear waste warning message that could be understood 10,000 years in the future. They wanted to make cats that either changed colour or glow to show the presence of radiation. That's crazy. I love that, and I hate that. That's incredible. Using Chernobyl is a, you know, thing. I mean, yeah, that's what people are like. Unfortunately, can't believe you're going back to what? Oh my god. We live in interesting times. We live in interesting times. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't know if you can hear, because it's actually quite loud to me. There is a cat sneezing in the background. Our foster cat has decided to start coming upstairs again, and so I'm pretty sure he is currently sleeping on my mum's bed, which is obviously within hearing distance. You thought it was a page turning? You can actually hear it. Yeah, no, that's Bruce sneezing. That is Bruce sneezing. They propose creating a song to communicate the purpose of cats. Amazing. I do like some of their concepts, like having like atomic priesthoods and stuff to like, you know, we're going to turn radiation into a religion, so it continues. Bruce? Yeah, his name is Bruce because his face markings, he's a black cat with medium white spotting, but his the black and white on his face makes him look like he's wearing Batman's mask, and so they called him Bruce after Batman. When coal was by, we could feed our family. Bring back the bisexual coal. This brings me a lot of, yeah, he's called Big. Nope, you said bye. We're bringing back bisexual coal, folks. This is this Yuri? Anyway. I want to finish the rest of House Screen today. So I'm gonna start reading and then we can carry on chatting afterwards. But last time it was quite a lot. For those of you who were not here last time, the short version of what we read last time was there's a lord, he's a really good guy, he's a really nice guy, and there is the greatest artist in the land. He is not a nice guy, he is incredibly mean, everyone hates him, but he is the greatest artist in the land, and he is really, really good. He's very mean to his apprentices. The only person he is not mean to is his daughter, but his daughter is a lady in waiting for the Lord's daughter, and that's kind of a point of contention, because the artist wants his daughter to not be working for the Lord. Anyway, so the Lord asks the artist to... Oh yeah, there's also a monkey, and they were all bullying the monkey until the daughter picked up the monkey, and then now everyone is nice to the monkey. Yeah, and the Lord asks the artist to paint a picture of hell, and it was so vivid that people could hear the screams of the damned. But it was also a very divisive piece, because he included not only the poor, but also the rich and those who are considered to be virtuous and not deserving of hell. And the author got ahead of himself, or the narrator got ahead of himself, and said that after painting the piece, the artist died. But then rewound a little bit, and we're back to hearing about what the hell the artist Yoshihide was doing to his apprentices, which ranged from bondage to allowing owls to claw at their faces. So yeah, you know, it's normal artist stuff. That's what being an artist is like. It's like a creepypasta. It's an actual story. Alright, so yeah, we're gonna continue. We're following off, basically, we just finished talking about... We gotta up your game. Yeah, if you're an artist and you're not torturing your apprentices, then like you're clearly not doing enough. He was good at painting screams because that's what he did to his apprentice. Like a creepypasta. I think this predates creepypastas. This is a story. Yeah, this is a story from like 1918. This is the grandfather of creepypastas. I made it. Hello, Para. I was just doing a quick recap of last time. Hello. Literally 2 sentence horror story. I think it's a bit more than 2 sentences. Anyway, so I'm gonna read, obviously while I'm reading. I will not be responding to chat, but feel free to continue talking, and then I will catch up with everything that I have to catch up on. If there are any issues with the sound at any time, please do say, because I'm still reading chat, so feel free. But other than that, please feel free to get some rest, get something to eat, get something to drink. I will not be redirecting at the end of stream because I do not have the ability to, so there is not any chance that you'll be woken up by any sudden streamer screaming. Also says hi, doesn't have a view. Hello to everyone watching from the real name YouTube accounts. Please don't dox yourself to me. Thank you for your restraint. I do not. I don't want to see everyone's real names attached to their Google accounts. Thank you. And I appreciate watching. Alright, let's go. Not my real name, or is it? You could be Jeff. You could be anyone. Alright. Let's go. It is me. Honestly, Robert, sometimes I worry, I remember when you first started turning up, I was like, oh my god, is that a real name? I forgot the time you doxed me into an if it makes you feel better, I don't remember. I try and purge my memory of people's real names. I feel like I vaguely remember finding it and then telling you so that you could get rid of it. That was a while ago. It isn't? Okay, good. Good. I don't want people's real names. It's scary. It could be the main idea was to use... That's a good idea. That's a really good idea, actually. It is pronounceable. I thought you could never tell who I was. A random person with a Dio icon? Yeah, there's many people that could be. Anyway. I'm gonna read. I'll see you in, like, 50 minutes or however long this takes. And you actually couldn't say that such a thing was out of the question, for it did seem that Yoshihide's sole purpose in calling the apprentice to his studio that night had been to set the owl on him and draw him trying to escape. Thus, when the apprentice caught that glimpse of his master at work, he instinctively put both arms up to protect his head, and an incoherent scream escaped his throat as he slumped down against the sliding door in the corner of the room. In that same instant, Yoshihide himself cried out and jumped to his feet, whereupon the beating of the owl's wings grew faster and louder, and there came the chatter of something falling over and a tearing sound. Having covered his head in terror, the apprentice now lowered his arms and looked around to find that the room had gone pitch dark, and he heard Yoshihide's angry voice calling to the other apprentices. Eventually, there was a far-off cry in response, and soon an apprentice rushed in with a lantern held high. In its sooty-smelling glow, the boy saw the tripod collapsed on the floor, and the mats and planking soaked in the oil of the overturned lamp. He saw the owl too, beating one wing in apparent pain as it flopped around the room. On the far side of the table, looking stunned, Yoshihide was raising himself from the floor and muttering something incomprehensible. And no wonder! The black snake was tightly coiled around the owl from neck to tail and over one wing. The apprentice had probably knocked the jar over as he slumped to the floor, and when the snake crawled out, the owl must have made the mistake of trying to grab it with its talons, only to give rise to this struggle. The two apprentices gaped at the bizarre scene and at each other until, with a silent bow to the master, they slipped out of the room. What happened to the owl and snake after that, no one knows. This was by no means the only such incident. I forgot to mention that it was the beginning of autumn when his lordship commanded Yoshihide to paint the hell screen. From then until the end of winter, the apprentices were continually subjected to their master's frightening behaviour. At that point, however, something seemed to interfere with Yoshihide's work on the screen. An even deeper layer of gloom came to settle over him, and he spoke to his assistants in markedly harsher tones. The screen was perhaps 4/5 finished, but it showed no further signs of progress. Indeed, Yoshihide occasionally seemed to be on the verge of painting over those parts that he had already completed. No one knew why he was having such difficulty with the screen, and what's more, no one tried to find out. Stung by those earlier incidents, his apprentices felt as if they were locked in a cage with a tiger or a wolf, and they found every way they could to keep their distance from the master. For that reason, I have little to tell you about that period. The only unusual thing I can think of is that the hard-headed old man suddenly turned weepy. People would often see him shedding tears when he was alone. An apprentice told me that one day he walked into the garden and saw the master standing on the veranda, gazing blankly at the sky with its promise of spring, his eyes full of tears. Embarrassed for the old man, the apprentice said, he silently withdrew. Don't you find it odd that this arrogant man, who went so far to sketch a corpse on the roadside for his 5 levels of rebirth, would cry like an infant just because a painting on the screen wasn't going as well as he wanted it to? In any case, while Yoshihide was madly absorbed in his work on the screen, his daughter began to show increasing signs of melancholy, until the rest of us could see that she was often fighting back her tears. A pale, reserved, sad-faced girl to begin with, she took on a genuinely mournful aspect as her lashes grew heavy and shadows began to form around her eyes. This gave rise to all sorts of speculation, that she was worried about her father, or that she was suffering the pangs of love. But soon people were saying that it was all because his lordship was trying to bend her to his will. Then the gossiping ground to a halt, as though everyone had suddenly forgotten about her. A certain event occurred at that time. Well after the first watch of the night, I was walking down an outdoor corridor when the monkey Yoshihide came flying at me from out of nowhere and started tugging at the skirts of my hakama. As I recall it, this was one of those warm early spring nights where you expect it at any time to be catching the sweet fragrance of plum blossoms in the pale moonlight. But what did I see in the moon's faint glow? It was the monkey baring its white fangs, wrinkling up its nose and shrieking with almost manic intensity. An eerie chill was only 3 parts of what I felt. The other 7 parts were anger at having my new hakama yanked at like that, and I considered kicking the beast aside and continuing on my way. I quickly changed my mind, however, recalling the case of the samurai who had earned the young master's displeasure by tormenting the monkey. And besides, the way the monkey was behaving, there was obviously something wrong. I therefore gave up trying to resist, and allowed myself to be pulled several paces further. Where the corridor turned the corner, the pale surface of his lordship's pond could be seen stretching off through the darkness beyond a gently drooping pine. When the animal led me to that point, my ears were assaulted by the frantic, yet strangely muffled sounds of what I took to be a struggle in a nearby room. All else was hushed. I heard no voices, no sounds but a splash of a fish leaping in the mingled moonlight and fog. The sound of the struggle brought me up short. If this was an intruder, I resolved, I would teach him a lesson, and holding my breath, I edged closer to the sliding door. My approach, however, was obviously too slow and cautious for the monkey. Yoshihide scampered around me in circles, once, twice, 3 times, then bounded up to my shoulder with a strangled cry. Instinctively, I jerked my head aside to avoid being scratched. The monkey dug its claws into my sleeve to keep from slipping down. This sent me staggering, and I stumbled backwards, slamming against the door. Now I could no longer hesitate. I shot the door open and crouched to spring in beyond the moonlight's edge. At that very moment, something rose up to block my view. With a start, I realized it was a woman. She flew towards me as if someone had flung her out of the room. She nearly hit me, but instead she tumbled forwards and, why I could not tell, went down on one knee before me, trembling and breathless, and staring up at me as if at some terrifying sight. I am sure I need not tell you. It was Yoshihide's daughter. That night, however, my eyes beheld her with a new vividness, as though she were an utterly different person. Her eyes were huge and shining, and her cheeks seemed to be burning red. Her dishevelled clothes gave her an erotic allure that contrasted sharply with her usual childish innocence. Could this actually be the daughter of Yoshihide, I wondered, that frail-looking girl, so modest and self-effacing in all things? Leaning against the sliding wooden door, I stared at this beautiful girl in the moonlight, and then, as if they were capable of pointing, I flicked my eyes in the direction of hurried footsteps that could be heard receding into the distance, as if to ask her soundlessly, "Who was that?" The girl bit her lip and shook her head in silence. I could see she felt deeply mortified. I bent over her and, speaking softly next her ear, now put my question into words. Who was that? But again, she refused to answer and would only shake her head. Indeed, she bit her lip harder than ever as tears gathered on her long lashes. Born stupid, I can never understand anything that isn't perfectly obvious, and so I had no idea what to say to her. I could do nothing but stand there, feeling as if my only purpose was to listen to the wild beating of her heart. Of course, one thing that kept me silent was the conviction that it would be wrong of me to question her any further. How long this went on, I do not know, but eventually I slid shut the door and gently told the girl, "Go to your room now." Her agitation seemed to have subsided somewhat. Assailed by an uneasy feeling that I had seen something I was not meant to see, and a sense of shame towards anyone and no one in particular, I began to pad my way back up the corridor. I had hardly gone 10 paces, however, when again I felt a tug, a timid one, at the skirts of my hakama. I whirled around, startled, but what do you think it was? I looked down to find the monkey Yoshihide prostrating himself at my feet, hands on the floor like a human being, bowing over and over in thanks, his golden bell ringing. Perhaps a fortnight went by after the night's incident. All of a sudden, Yoshihide arrived at the mansion to beg a personal audience with his lordship. He probably dared do such a thing despite his humble station, because he had long been in his lordship's special favour. His lordship rarely allowed anyone to come into his presence, but that day, as so often before, he assented readily to Yoshihide's request and had him shown in without a moment's delay. The man wore his usual reddish-brown robe and tall black soft hat. His face revealed a new level of sullenness, but he went down on all fours before his lordship, and at length, eyes down, he began to speak in husky tones. "I come into your honoured presence this day, my lord, regarding the screen bearing images of hell which his lordship ordered me to paint. I have applied myself to it day and night, outdone myself, such that my efforts have begun to bear fruit, and it is largely finished." This is excellent news. I am very pleased. Even as his lordship spoke these words, however, his voice seemed oddly lacking in power and vitality. "No, my lord, I am afraid the news is anything but excellent," said Yoshihide, his eyes still fastened on the floor in a way that hinted at anger. "The work may be largely finished, but there is still a part that I am unable to paint." "What? Unable to paint?" "Indeed, sir. As a rule, I can only paint what I have seen, or even if I succeed in painting something unknown to me, I myself cannot be satisfied with it. This is the same as not being able to paint it. Does his lordship not agree?" As his lordship listened to Yoshihide's words, his face gradually took on a mocking smile. "Which would mean that if you wanted to paint a screen depicting hell, you would have to have seen hell itself." "Exactly, my lord. In the great fire some years ago, though, I saw flames with my own eyes that I could use for those of the hell of searing heat. In fact, I succeeded with my fudo of twisting flames only because I experienced that fire. I believe my lord is familiar with the painting." "What about sinners, though? And hell wardens? You have never seen those, have you?" His lordship challenged Yoshihide with one question after another, as though he had not heard Yoshihide's words. "I have seen a person bound in iron chains," said Yoshihide, and I have done a detailed sketch of someone being tormented by a monstrous bird. No, I think it cannot be said that I have never seen sinners being tortured. As for hell wardens, said Yoshihide, breaking into an eerie smile, my eyes have beheld them any number of times as I drift between sleeping and waking. The bull-headed ones, the horse-headed ones, the three-faced, six-armed devils. Almost every night they come to torture me with their soundless clapping hands, their voiceless gaping mouths. No, they are not the ones I am having so much difficulty painting. I suspect this shocked even his lordship. For a long while he only glared at Yoshihide until, with an angry twitch of the brow, he spat out. "All right then, what is it that you say you are unable to paint?" In the centre of the screen, falling from the sky, I want to paint an aristocrat's carriage, its enclosure woven of the finest split palm leaf. As he spoke, Yoshihide raised himself to look directly at his lordship for the first time, and with a penetrating gaze. I had heard that Yoshihide could be like a madman where painting was concerned. To me, the look in his eyes at that moment was terrifying in that very way. In the carriage, a voluptuous noblewoman writhes in agony, her long black hair tossing in the ferocious flames. Her face? Well, perhaps she contorts her brows and casts her gaze skyward towards the ceiling of the enclosure as she chokes on the rising clouds of smoke. Her hands might tear at the cloth streamers of the carriage blinds in her struggle to ward off the shower of sparks raining down upon her. Around her swarm fierce, carnivorous birds, perhaps a dozen or more, snapping their beaks in anticipation. Oh, my lord, it is this image of the noblewoman in the carriage that I am unable to paint. And therefore? His lordship seemed to be deriving an odd sort of pleasure from this as he urged Yoshihide to continue. But Yoshihide himself, red lips trembling with a fever, could only repeat, as if in a dream, "This is what I am unable to paint." Then suddenly, all but biting into his own words, he cried, "I beg you, my lord, have your men set a carriage on fire. Let me watch the flames devour its frame and its woven enclosure. And if possible..." A dark cloud crossed his lordship's face, but no sooner had it passed than he broke into a loud cackle. He was still choking with laughter when he spoke. "Possible? I'll do whatever you want. Don't waste time worrying about what is possible." His lordship's words filled me with a terrible foreboding, and in fact his appearance at that moment was anything but ordinary. White foam gathered at the corners of his mouth. His eyebrows convulsed into jagged bolts of lightning. It was as if his lordship himself had become infused with Yoshihide's madness. And no sooner had he finished speaking than laughter, endless laughter, exploded from his throat once again. "I'll burn a carriage for you," he said, "and I'll have a voluptuous woman inside it, dressed in a noblewoman's robes. She will die, writhing in with agony, in flames and black smoke. I have to salute you, Yoshihide. Who could have thought of such a thing but the greatest painter in the land?" Yoshihide went pale when he heard this, and for a time the only part of him that moved was his lips. He seemed to be gasping for breath. Then, as though all the muscles of his body had gone limp at once, he crumpled forward with his hands on the matted floor again. "A thousand thanks to you, my lord," Yoshihide said, with rare humility, his voice barely audible. Perhaps the full horror of his own plan had come all too clear to him as he heard it spelled out in his lordship's words. Only this once in my life did I ever think of Yoshihide as a man to be pitied. 2 or 3 nights later, his lordship summoned Yoshihide as promised to witness the burning of the carriage. He held the event not at the Horikawa mansion, but outside the capital, at his late younger sister's mountain retreat, widely known as the Palace of the Melting Snows. No one had lived at this palace for a very long time. Its broad gardens had gone wild, and the desolate site must have given rise to all sorts of rumours, many about his lordship's sister, who had actually died there. People used to say that on moonless nights her ladyship's broad-skirted scarlet hakama would glide eerily along the outdoor corridor, never touching the floor. And no wonder there were such stories. The palace was lonely enough in the daytime, but once the sun set, it became downright unnerving. The garden stream would murmur ominously in the darkness, and herons would look like monstrous creatures swooping in the starlight. As it happened, the carriage burning took place on one of those pitch-dark, moonless nights. Oil lamps revealed his lordship seated in cross-legged ease on the veranda. Beneath the turquoise robe, he wore a patterned hakama in a dark lavender colour. On a thick, round mat edged in white brocade, his position was of course elevated above the half-dozen or so attendants who surrounded him. One among them appeared most eager to be of service to his lordship, a burly samurai who had distinguished himself in the campaign against the northern barbarians some years earlier. He was said to have survived starvation by eating human flesh, after which he had the strength to tear out the antlers of a living stag with his bare hands. On this night, he knelt in stern readiness below the veranda, in the scabbard at his armour-clad waist, a sword tipped up and back like a gull's tail, ready to draw at a moment's notice. These men presented a strangely terrifying, almost dreamlike spectacle. The lamplight flickering in the night wind turned them all dark one moment, bright the next. And then there was the carriage itself. Even without an ox attached to it, its long black shafts, their ends resting on the usual low bench that tilted the whole slightly forward, it stood out against the night, its tall enclosure woven of the finest split palm leaf, exactly as Yoshihide had requested. Truly, a conveyance worthy of his imperial majesty or the most powerful ministers of state. When I saw its gold fittings gleaming like stars in the sky, and considered what was soon to happen to this lavishly appointed vehicle, a shiver went through me in spite of the warm spring night. As for what might be inside the carriage, there was no way to tell. Its lovely blinds, woven of still green bamboo and edged in patterned cloth, had been rolled down tight, and around it, alert-looking conscripts stood guard, holding flaming torches, and seeming to worry that too much smoke might be drifting towards his lordship on the veranda. Yoshihide himself was situated at some remove, kneeling on the ground directly opposite the veranda. He wore what seemed to be his usual reddish-brown robe and tall black soft hat, and he looked especially small and shabby, as though the star-filled sky were a weight pressing down upon him. Behind him knelt another person in an outfit like this, probably an apprentice he had brought along. With them crouching down low in the darkness like that, I could not make out the colour of their robes from my place below the veranda. Midnight was approaching, I believe. I felt as if the darkness enveloping the garden was silently watching us all breathing, the only sound an occasional rush of night wind, each gust wafting towards us the resinous smell of the torch's pine smoke. His lordship remained silent for some moments, observing the mysterious scene, but then, edging forward where he sat, he cried sharply, "Yoshihide! Yoshihide may have said some word in response, but to my ears it sounded like nothing so much as a moan. "Tonight, Yoshihide, I am going to burn a carriage for you, as you requested." When he said this, his lordship glanced at the men around him. I thought I saw a meaningful smile pass between him and certain of them. Of course, it could have been my imagination. Now Yoshihide seemed to be timidly raising his head and looking up towards the veranda, but still he waited, saying nothing. "I want you to look at this," his lordship said. "This is my carriage, the one I use every day. You know it well, I'm sure. I will now have it set on fire, in order that you may see the hell of searing heat here on earth before your eyes." His lordship reverted to silence, and his eyes flashed another signal to his men. Then, with sudden vehemence, he cried, "Chained inside the carriage is a sinful woman. When we set the carriage afire, her flesh will be roasted, her bones will be charred, she will die an agonizing death. Never again will you have such a perfect model for the screen. Do not fail to watch as her snow-white flesh erupts in flames. See and remember her long black hair dancing in a whirl of sparks." His lordship sank into silence for yet a third time, but whatever could have been in his mind, now all he did was laugh soundlessly, his shoulders quaking. "Never again will there be a sight like this, Yoshihide. I shall join you in observing it. All right, men, raise the blind. Yet let Yoshihide see the woman inside." On hearing this command, one of the conscripts, torch held high, strode up to the carriage, stretched out his free hand, and whipped the blind up. The torch crackled and flickered and cast its red gleam inside. On the carriage's matted floor, cruelly chained, sat a woman. And oh, who could have failed to recognize her? Her long black hair flowed in a voluptuous band across a gorgeous robe embroidered in cherry blossoms, and the golden hairpins atop her downcast head sparkled beautifully in the firelight. For all the differences in costuming, there was no mistaking that girlish frame, that graceful neck where now a gag was fastened, that touchingly modest profile. They belonged to none other than Yoshihide's daughter. I could hardly keep from crying out. Just then, the samurai kneeling across from me sprang to his feet, and pressing threateningly on his sword hilt, glared at Yoshihide. Startled by this sudden movement, I turned my gaze towards Yoshihide. He looked as if this spectacle were driving him half mad. Where he had been crouched until then, he was on his feet now and poised, arms outstretched, to run towards the carriage. Unfortunately though, as I have said before, he was in the shadows far away from me, and so I did not have a clear view of his face. My frustration lasted but a moment, however, for, drained of colour though it was, Yoshihide's face, or should I say, Yoshihide's entire form, raised aloft now by some invisible power, appeared before me with such clarity it seemed to have cut its way through the surrounding darkness. For in that instant, his lordship cried, "Burn it!" The conscripts flung their torches, and the carriage, with Yoshihide's daughter inside, had burst into flame. The fire engulfed the entire carriage. The purple roof tassels blew aside, then clouds of smoke swirled aloft, stark white against the blackness of the night, and then, finally, a shower of sparks spurted upwards with such terrifying force that in a single instant the blinds, the side panels, and the roof's metal fittings were ripped off in the blast and sent flying. Still more horrible was the colour of the flames that licked the latticed cabin vent before shooting skywards as though, might I say, the sun itself had crashed to earth, spewing its heavenly fire in all directions. As close as I had come to crying out before, now I could only gape in mute awe at the horrifying spectacle. But what of the girl's father? I will never forget the look of Yoshihide's face at that instant. He had started towards the carriage on impulse, but halted when the flames flared up. He then stood there, with arms outstretched, eyes devouring the smoke and flames that enveloped the carriage. In the firelight that bathed him from head to toe, I could see every feature of his ugly, wrinkled face. His wide-staring eyes, his contorted lips, the twitching flesh of his cheeks, all drew a vivid picture of the shock, the terror, and the sorrow that traversed Yoshihide's heart by turns. Such anguish, I suspect, would not be seen even on the face of a convicted thief about to have his head cut off, or the guiltiest sinner about to face the judgment of the 10 kings of hell. Even the powerful samurai went pale at the sight, and stole a fearful glance at his lordship above him. But what of his lordship himself? Biting his lip and smiling strangely now and then, he stared straight ahead, never taking his eyes off the carriage. And the girl in the carriage. I don't think I have the courage to describe in detail what she looked like then. The pale whiteness of her upturned face as she choked on the smoke, the tangled length of her hair as she tried to shake the flames from it, the beauty of her cherry blossom robe as it burst into flame. It was all so cruel, so terrible, especially at one point when the night wind rushed down from the mountain to sweep away the smoke. The sight of her against a flaming background of red flecked with gold dust, gnawing at her gag, writhing as if to snap the chains that bound her. It was enough to make our flesh creep. Not only mine, but the powerful samurai's as well, as if the tortures of hell were being pictured right there before our eyes. Just then, the night wind gusted once more, rustling the branches of the garden's trees. Or so it seemed to me, and, I am sure, to everyone else. Such a sound seemed to race through the dark sky, and in that instant, some black thing shot from the palace roof into the blazing carriage. It travelled in a perfectly straight line, like a ball that had been kicked, neither touching the earth nor arcing towards space. And as the carriage's burning side lattice collapsed inwards, glowing as if coated in crimson lacquer, the thing grasped the girl's straining shoulders and hurled a long, piercing, and inexpressibly anguished scream out beyond the billowing smoke. Another scream followed, and then a third, until we all found ourselves crying out with it. For though it had been left tethered back at the Horikawa mansion, what we saw now clinging to the girl's shoulders against a flaming backdrop was the monkey Yoshihide. We could see the monkey for only the briefest moment, though. A fountain of sparks shot up to the sky like gold dust in black lacquer, and then not only the monkey, but the girl too, was shrouded in black smoke. Now in the middle of the garden, there was only a carriage of fire seething in flames with a terrible roar. No, pillar of fire might better describe this horrible conflagration boiling up to the starry heavens. Oh, how strange it was to see the painter now, standing absolutely rigid before the pillar of fire. Yoshihide, who only a few moments earlier had seemed to be suffering the torments of hell, stood there with his arms locked across his chest, as if he had forgotten even the presence of his lordship. His whole wrinkled face suffused now with an inexpressible radiance, the radiance of religious ecstasy. I could have sworn that the man's eyes were no longer watching his daughter dying in agony, that instead the gorgeous colours of flames and the sight of a woman suffering in them were giving him joy beyond measure. The most wondrous thing was not that he had watched his only daughter's death throes with apparent joy, but also that Yoshihide at that moment possessed a strange, inhuman majesty that resembled the rage of the king of beasts himself as you might see him in a dream. For this reason, although I might have been imagining it, the countless night birds that flew around us squawking in alarm at each new eruption of flames seemed to keep their distance from Yoshihide's tall black hat. Perhaps even those insentient birds could see the mysterious grandeur that hung above Yoshihide like a radiant aura. If the birds could see it, how much more so the rest of us, down to the lowly conscripts. Trembling inwardly, scarcely breathing, and filled with a bizarre sense of adoration, we kept our eyes fastened on Yoshihide, as if we were present at the decisive moment where a lump of stone or wood becomes a holy image of the Buddha. The carriage flames filled the heavens with a roar, Yoshihide under the spell of the flames, transfixed. What sublimity, what rapture! But among us, only one, his lordship, looked on as if transformed into another person. His noble countenance drained of colour, the corners of his mouth flecked with foam, hands clutching his knees through his lavender hakama as he panted like a beast in need of water. Word soon spread that his lordship had burnt the carriage that night in the Palace of the Melting Snows, and there seemed to have been many who were highly critical of the event. First of all came the question of Yoshihide's daughter. Why had his lordship chosen to burn her alive? The rumour most often heard was that he had done it out of spite for her rejection of his love. I am certain, however, that he did it to punish the twisted personality of an artist who would go so far as to burn a carriage and kill a human being to complete the painting of a screen. In fact, I overheard his lordship saying as much himself. And then there was Yoshihide, whose stony heart was also apparently the topic of much negative commentary. How, after seeing his own daughter burned alive, could he want to finish the screen painting? Some cursed him as a beast in human guise who had forgotten a father's love for the sake of a picture. One who allied himself with this opinion was his reverence, the abbot of Yokawa, who always used to say, "Excel in his art though he might, if a man does not know the 5 virtues, he can only end up in hell." A month went by, and the screen with its images of hell was finished at last. Yoshihide brought it to the mansion that very day, and humbly presented it for his lordship's inspection. His reverence happened to be visiting at that time, and I am certain that he was shocked at the sight of the horrible firestorm blasting through it. Until he actually saw the screen, he was glowering at Yoshihide. But then he slapped his knee and exclaimed, "What magnificent work!" I can still see the bitter smile on his lordship's face when he heard those words. Almost no one spoke ill of Yoshihide after that, at least not in the mansion. Could it be because all who saw the screen, even those who had always hated him, were struck by strangely solemn feelings when they witnessed the tortures of the hell of searing heat in all their reality? By then, however, Yoshihide numbered among those who are no longer of this world. The night after he finished the screen, he tied a rope to the beam of his room and hanged himself. I suspect that, having sent his daughter on ahead to the other world, he could not bear to go on living here as if nothing had happened. His body lies buried in the ruins of his home. The little stone marker is probably so cloaked in moss now, after decades of exposure to the wind and rain, that no one can tell whose grave it is anymore. Wow. That guy's descriptions went kind of hard. Yeah, rip that guy's daughter. I mean, it was kind of predictable from the moment that it was like, oh, I wanna burn a carriage with someone inside. It was like, oh no, oh no. But yeah, supposedly the artist. No, very nice, yeah, very good sleepy reading. I did warn, this is from the section titled Dread. This is the Dread section of the book. I'm sorry. It's fine. I actually didn't pause there because of that. I paused there because I made a mistake reading it. Okay, let me go back to that section. Because what I did, I messed up. What part there? Screen. Here we go. So the sentence starts even without an ox attached to, but I accidentally paused like even without an ox attached, and then I put like a verbal comma there. And so it kind, because it was the end of the line before moving to the next line, and so there's a second that I have to like shift to obviously read the next line because I don't read ahead or else I'll skip words. So it threw me off that I got it wrong, and so I had to start the I had to think about how to recover it, and I decided to just start the sentence again from scratch. So that's what that pause was. It actually wasn't because of the description of the carriage. Imagine being burned alive because your painter, who was the greatest painter in the best painter in the book, was kind of an asshole. I mean, to be fair, so this was written 1918 and set much earlier. I don't know what year it was set in. I suppose a woman wasn't really thought of as her own like person. She was just seen as kind of an extension of Yoshihide and as a servant of the mansion, of whatever. So when Yoshihide asked for someone to be killed on his behalf, it was just kind of a like, oh well, we'll kill something of yours then. That's what I kind of... I can say it in context, because that's the thing, like, historically. I'm not saying that that's how it is today. Yeah, I'm saying in context of the story, both when it was written and when it was set, because it was written in the early 1900s and set before the early 1900s, although there's no exact date. Like, yeah. Women aren't even real. True. It was. You don't have to be fair about it. I'm sorry. I'm just doing. I don't know if I count this as analysis. I'm just talking about, you know, my perception of the story we just read. Yeah, the painter was a bit of a tragic character. He was absolutely an asshole who should not have acted anything like he did. But also his lordship was definitely not a nice guy. The narrator being like, oh yes, a wonderful lordship. Truly he can do no wrong. Such a great guy. Yeah. Wrong. Incorrect. Anyway, it kind of, after finishing that does now add a little bit of worry to my so before I read the health screen, the stream before, I went through every single short story in this is a little bit about the author and a little bit about the story. So this guy who wrote this, let me just make sure it's the person I think, yeah, Akutagawa Ryonosuke. He suffered a nervous breakdown and committed suicide. Dude, just because you've written about it, don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah. Yeah, the Lord wanted his painting of hell. That was such a weird thing to ask for, though. Like, you know, this is a guy who will paint, like, corpses that people say they can still hear, like, the screaming from. You have an artist like that. Can't you ask them to paint nice things? Ask why did everyone want Yoshihide to paint all these horrible things? Maybe what would have fixed him if someone just commissioned him to paint like a nice picnic. I want you to paint just a pleasant picnic. I should have asked for I don't think dakis existed back then. Yoshihide, or how you spell it, would have made some kabuki there to start demanding the real thing. You get the medieval. My lord, I must see your beautiful flower patch. I must see your beautiful god. Exactly. See, that would have fixed him. That would have fixed him. So yeah. Damn. Either way, it's incredibly well written. Like, the descriptions in that are genuinely... Part of me wants to go back and, like, just analyze the way that he wrote the descriptions. Because, so, normally descriptions do nothing for me, because I've already mentioned before, I can't picture things in my head. Like, I can't... Yeah, it's translated from the original Japanese. So yeah, that was... originally written not even in our own language. Like, even though I can't picture things in my head, that was still such like a vivid... I didn't get any imagery, but like the feeling of it was strong. I can't picture things in my head. Wonder how you'd react to her. I mean, I can dream. I have visual dreams. There are people that can't do that. Yeah, it's called aphantasia. Yeah, we just can't picture things in our head. So a lot of people are like, oh, you know, imagine an apple, and you can put an apple in your head. I can kind of remember how an apple looks like. I can kind of remember how an apple looks like, but I can't actually picture it. Like, I can't invent an apple. So whenever I get a description where someone's like, oh, you know, imagine a person, and imagine they've got like a long nose and like wide eyes and like thin lips, I'm like, no, I know what all those things are like separately, but I'm not putting them together in my head. I do have an internal monologue, yes. I do have several at once, all the time. I have like 3 internal monologues at any given time, which is kind of disorientating. It's kind of a lot. You're not fully in a PC. Man, it's so rude. I get accused of not having a soul. I get accused of being an NPC. No, I have a lot of internal monologue. We have to secure a supply of mushrooms for you to hang out with your troll OCs. Man, why do we have to do it why do we have to do the hallucinogen through mushrooms? I don't even like mushrooms. No, I shouldn't talk about this on YouTube, that's dangerous. I'll get flagged. Have you tried staring at an apple for an hour then spinning? You mean like stare at an apple in real life and then spin it in my head? Or stare at an apple in real life and then spin the apple in real life? By the way, I think I have stared at an apple for an hour because I have done life drawings before when I was in school. I can't! But that's one of the reasons why I became an artist, you know? And not to draw my troll OCs kissing each other. That's not the reason. The reason I became an artist is because I wanted to put all the words I have in my head I wanted to make them pictures because I want to see them. Messages held for review. I see your X'd out. I still can't draw. If I really wanted to imagine, if I really wanted to see my trolls kissing, I would have learned how to draw kissing, but I don't know how to draw kissing, so I still don't do that. Like drawing POT running over a random guy in their ice cream truck while crying. Why am I crying? Maybe it's stressful to drive an ice cream truck. It's been a while since I've driven. Try doing a shonen training arc with you. Imagine really hard every day, just in case it works eventually. So occasionally, I can get a little like flit of something. It's very vague, and it doesn't end up like remaining in my memory. But yeah, I don't know. It's not like I mind having aphantasia. There's plenty of really wonderful artists that have it as well. I don't think it really like impacts my day to day. It was just kind of a shock finding out that other people can just like picture things in their head. I like to think you aren't enjoying the manslaughter since it's— oh, I see. It needs to be more personal. Yeah, I suppose driving a ton heavy ice cream truck is not a very personal way. Visualize everything in flashes. I can't focus on images that— huh. Yeah, well, like I said, so, there's kind of like I think there's a spectrum of it. Like, some people can get like really, really vivid, like everything in their head, like the 3D objects, depth, perception, lighting, everything. However, I actually think I wouldn't be an artist if I had that ability. I would probably be a writer more than an artist if I had that ability. But I think as an artist, if I could picture things really clearly in my head, I think I would get frustrated that I couldn't perfectly replicate it. Like, I think I would get frustrated that the things that I imagine are better than the things I can draw. Imagine you in my head. Imagine you in my head driving a car through a loop. Whoa! Some people manage to train that imagining aspect, but it varies per person. Like I said, it's not like I mind not having the ability to picture things sometimes. It makes it a little annoying occasionally, but you know. Imagine you eating food you don't— what? Why? Why would you do that to me? That's so rude. Man. Maybe if you should take the ability— you know what? Maybe we should take you guys' ability to imagine things away. Huh? How about that? Alright, what am I doing? It'd be sad if I couldn't imagine Puri's Asgore driving truck in the back of the truck. That's not even the original. here? 239. Sorry, I'm looking up what the next story will be. Yeah, regarding next week's streams. So obviously I've said last stream, I'm going to go cat sit. This is ridiculous, okay. I didn't want to talk about it on my normal stream, but I'll talk about it here. So I'm cat sitting in a different part of the country, down south, past London. And now here's the thing, right? Traveling to London is basically the most expensive thing you can do. Like, London is expensive. And because everyone wants to go to London, because they're insane, even a train to London, even if you don't actually want to go to London, you want to go past London, you want to, like, there's no way to go around London, you have to go through it, and so it's really expensive. And so I was like, damn it, that's really annoying. No megabus. The coach, any coach you get, you still have to go through London first. London is kind of like the hub point. You go to London and then you leave London. That's kind of... So everything was through London, and so every method of getting to this person's, like, cat cost a fortune. And then I was laying there. I was in bed thinking, and I was like, man, you know, it's been a really long time since I flew. Like, I haven't been on a plane for years. And then I was like, oh, it's gonna be way more expensive. But you know, like, you can fly to Europe from the UK for like 30 quid. Like, it's really cheap sometimes if you get a good deal. Really awful airlines, but like, you can travel to Europe from the UK for like ridiculously cheap sometimes. And so I was like, screw it, alright. I'll look up how much a flight from my nearest airport to the nearest airport to where I'm cat sitting is. I'm gonna look at how expensive it is compared to the trains. And the plane is actually cheaper. It is cheaper for me to fly. It's not even a direct flight. There is no flight that goes directly from where I am to where I'm going. So I have to leave Thursday night to catch a plane. I'm catching a plane to Ireland, and then I have to wait a few hours in Ireland to then fly to where I'm going, and then I have to do the same on the way back, and that's cheaper than me getting a train. So yeah, the reason I'm not able to stream on Thursday is because I'm going to be at the freaking airport. It's so messed up. It's so messed up to me that a plane is cheaper than a train. Like, that's not right. Why is sending me like 20,000 feet in the air cheaper? 4 times! Okay, just quick hop over to Ireland. No, if anyone's in Ireland that wants to hang out at 3 AM, hit me up. Real life is neat. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, while I think it's stupid, I'm also not complaining because I haven't been on an airplane in a really long time and I really love flying. And this is also gonna be the first time I've gotten to fly without, like, worrying about luggage. Like, I'm not taking a suitcase with me, I'm just gonna take my carry-on with me, and so I don't have to worry about, like, losing any luggage or anything. Like, I just get to chill. Like, I just get to, I mean, 7 hours in Ireland at night is not gonna be the most fun I've ever had, but, you know. I'm kinda looking forward to flying again. Which is why at the same time I don't really, like, mind the fact that I'm having to pay to cat sit. It's like, it's okay because I kind of get something out of it. Yeah, it's not a super long trip. Yeah, obviously flights to America are like 8 hours. And don't be wrong, like, I love flying, but the Weatherspoons won't be open because it's a night stay. But there's no point, like, I can't get a hotel or anything. Like, there isn't even enough time for me to actually sleep. So I'll just be sitting in the airport, like, Hi, security. Is there a plug I can use so I can use my laptop? Flying is fun, everything around flying is not. I'll hand you that much. So yeah, I leave Thursday night and then I get back. I can't, hold on, let me check. Hope it's a magical trip. I mean, it's just gonna be I don't think it's gonna be a big deal, but it's gonna make a nice change. It's gonna be really nice to fly again. It's gonna be really nice to get a change of scenery. And I've never been to Ireland. This doesn't really count as going to Ireland. I'm going through Ireland. I wish I was actually going to. I've never been to Ireland. I'd like to go. I'd like to visit Ireland. I hear the countryside is really nice. And also I would love to visit some like museums and like historical sites. But that's just because I love museums and historical sites, so I don't know if that appeals to everyone, but but obviously because I'm at night I can't really do that. Sad. Reincarnated as a cat, question mark. True. Okay, so when do I get back? Okay, so I get back literally Tuesday morning. So I don't know if there will be a stream next Tuesday. Because if I've literally just got back that morning, so I can't sleep on planes, I can't sleep in public places, so I won't be sleeping on the airport or anything. So I don't know when the last time I will have slept will be. So if I get home and immediately fall asleep and then I wake up, I'll be able to stream. But if I've done something weird with my sleep, as I tend to do, then it will be difficult. So I literally can't say whether I'll be streaming next Tuesday or not. I'm gonna try. If I'm awake and I'm here, I'll do it, but just traveling obviously kind of puts a bunch of obstacles in my way sometimes. But I love traveling, so I did think about whether I wanted to do a stream from Ireland while I'm in the airport, but given that I'll be in like a very findable place, I figured I probably shouldn't do that. My autistic VTuber is flying to Ireland to cat sit in England. It's so stupid and convoluted, but at the same time, like, that's real life, baby. Don't push yourself too hard. Yeah, I'll do my best. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll come back and I'll write a Google Docie on the person that I cat sitted for. I'll be like, oh my god. They just locked me in with their cat. I had to fend for both of us. Either way. It's what it is. Google Doc on the cat. Do you guys want to see the cat? I can grab a photo of the cat if you want to see the cat that I'll be cat sitting. Not that picture. That's not good. I want a good picture. I want to see Bruce. Oh, you also want to see Bruce? Oh gosh, I can try and find a picture of Bruce. My mum is the one who takes more photos of the foster cat though, so. Alright, I have a picture of the cat I'm cat sitting as a bread roll, but I want one that actually shows the cat's face. But I'll get the bread roll to start, just so we have a starting point. Here's the bread roll. Is Bruce going to be a foster failure? No. So here's the thing about Bruce is he's unfortunately got chronic illness. He has respiratory issues. Basically, and he has a severe allergy to gluten. He can't be fed he has to be fed a special diet that is very expensive. And so he is very unlikely to be adopted. So basically he is not up for listing on the agency's website, which is why I'm willing to say that his name is Bruce and describe him, because I know that no one can do a search for Bruce and find him, because he is not adoptable at this time. We will probably have him for the rest of his life unless someone specifically comes and asks about cats with special care needs. So yeah. That's why you could hear him sneezing. He's always got respiratory issues, unfortunately. He's very prone to colds and getting ill like that. Which is unfortunate, but it's because he was a stray for a couple years before he got picked up off the streets. And so he suffered some consequences due to that, unfortunately. There we go, that's a better picture. I think this maybe has, oh no, it's got just a chair. And this thing just disappeared off the site because she was up for so long. Yeah. Bruce is a good cat though, so I don't mind the fact that we probably are gonna have him for the rest of his life. And you know, he's got a good home in us. Here we go. Here's the cat. This is who I'll be. This is who I'll be. Is he feeling it's his fault for being straight? The word consequences doesn't imply it's his fault. Where's all my stuff? Didn't help the pictures made her look like an alien. What? Yeah, I mean sometimes that can be a positive for some cats. But yeah, no, this is who I'll be cat sitting. I wonder if I can search my DMs with my mum to see if she's ever sent me any pictures of the foster cat. Has image. Nope. Nope. Mum sends me a lot of screenshots of Facebook because she knows that I will never check Facebook, and so if she ever wants me to see anything on Facebook, she just sends me a screenshot of it instead. I think it's a good summary of the kind of person that I am to try and communicate with. Are these pictures? Nope. Facebook has got some real crazy yeah, it does. I don't use it anymore, but even back when I did use it, it still was starting to go kind of hard on the AI slop. No, do I not have any pictures? It's called Meta now? Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, okay, I do not think I have any pictures of him on hand. I will return next week with pictures of Bruce. I will for my next stream, I will make sure I have pictures of Bruce. But yeah, for now, this is the cat I'll be cat sitting. So if you need me, find that cat. It's like all granny shatters. Oh, you mean the video of the granny shattering glass with a boulder, and then like a dog rescues people, and everyone in the comments is praising the very real dog that definitely saved people. Twitter, Facebook, one of those. You mean Meta? X is Zuby? It's on Poob. Your show is literally on Poob. Just log into Poob. I hate it. But yeah, no. Cat photos will follow. Next time I do a reading stream, whether it's next week or the week after, this is actually another one from 1918. We are not moving in year this time. But it should be I don't know if it'll be cheery, but it is actually from the section called Modern Life and Other Nonsense, not from Dread, which is a good sign. Not being from the Dread section. I do like a little bit of a break between my Dread. Be astounded if that message doesn't get shadow banned. I mean, given that I can't see a message, I will say that yes, it got shadow banned. But you know, if you ever have something you really want to send, I always have my Twitch chat open during YouTube streams. Like, I can see my Twitch chat right now. So, yeah, I've got no idea what you tried to say. So the next story from here is called Closet LLB. From the Modern Life. Yeah, that definitely got shadow banned. Man, could screenshot that and take that out of context. The people who have my stream open, I know a couple of people have my stream open like all the time, like they use some kind of like IRC thing to like always have my stream open. They are gonna be so confused when they see that. It did go through on Twitch, yeah. It didn't get auto-modded, it went straight through. Also, you can't throw stuff at me. Horror. I wonder if auto-mod doesn't work properly when you're not live. Don't try that. Don't try sending things. Anyway. So yeah, next one will be Closet LLB, which I don't know what it means. I don't know what an LLB is. The actual name of it is Yaneura no Hogakushi, so I don't know where LLB has come from. But apparently it is one of the earlier works of the author and straddles the line between masochistic self-study and parodic humour, drawing us deeper into sympathy for the miserable protagonist who has graduated from the university but can't find what he wants to do with his life. He has high ideals that are not accompanied by genuine ability, and he's conceited but doesn't have talent or perseverance. So, interesting. Let me just delete that mess. No, I won't do it. So yeah, that'll be next time. That'll be whenever I read next on stream. Put that away now. Clear, vanish, all the above do not work on my channel. I removed the functionality. Yeah, I'm kind of, it's funny actually, I was like this close to even not ending up being able to stream on Monday either. There's currently an event going on in real life, and my mum messaged me on Monday like, oh my god, Purity, this is our like one day that we can go to this one event this week. And I was like, Mum, this is literally my one day that I can like stream this week. What do you mean? I can't go to an IRL event. I have to play Hollow Knight. Sorry, I can't go have fun. I need to be a bug and die repeatedly, please. Kind of silly when I say it like that, but that is kind of what it was. But also I would feel really sad if this had been my only stream this week. And that wouldn't have felt right. I feel like I'm actually back. Yeah, I'm sorry that I've been depriving you of your I Miss Purity. I can't believe I'm actually like streaming consistently. I don't think you'd be. See, I didn't think that was a very Hugs. I didn't think that was a very Hugs thing to say either. That was Pydots, wasn't it? Saying that he thought you would say. We're so back. We are. We're actually back. No, I'm going cat sitting for a few days, but then I'll be back again. Only taking short breaks. We have schedules and stuff and plans. I'm really happy. I love streaming. Something I would say in numbers chat is a setup set to can I be Okay, so I see why Pydots might have said it if he's because Pydots is from numbers chat. So I can see why that assumption would have been made. I see. We are going to be so back from being so back soon. Right, what? I still don't know what insect I would be. I kind of need to like not think about it, to be honest. If I try to avoid thinking about like other things I should be or other things I could be, since I know as my law does allow for me to steal bodies of other creatures, like as long as they're humanoid, as long as they're like derivative from human. So I feel like it's dangerous me thinking about like, oh, it would be really good if I was like a moth person, because then I would be like, well, the thing is I can technically do that. It would be within my law, but I am quite happy just being a cat question mark and an angel question mark and then my true form. I'm gonna draw you as a worm. Chat, would you still love me if I was a worm? The danger of commissioning night. Yeah, exactly. There's one termite that can only eat a specific type of tree, but due to a fluke of nature it can trick itself into thinking a different type of tree is also one of its preferred trees. Is that me? Lacewing is right there. Wait. Oh, that kind of wait. Isn't this just what we call a green fly? I can't tell if this is what normally we just call a green fly. Is a lace. What the hell? Is a labubu a demon? Okay, thanks Google. That's something. Lacewing, green fly. Oh, no, lacewings eat green flies. Oh, green flies are aphid? Wait, no, I don't think, no. I've seen aphids before. No, green flies have wings. And you'll be like, oh my god, I'm so the invasive Mexican green termite. Major predators are... Some aphids have wings? Oh. I don't know anymore. Bug. Either way, I don't know what bug I would be. And like I said, it's dangerous for me to think about it because I don't want to be the person who is constantly commissioning, well, I can't be the person who's constantly commissioning new models. I can't be that person. But even then, I really love my current appearances. And I haven't even like properly shown my like true form, so it's really, I do not need to think about possessing new animals to be. When the population goes to concentrate some of the new... Oh. No, just need to release a bunch of ladybirds. Puri the crab spider? No. No. I'm looking that up. Crab spider. Crab sodium content? No, I'm not a crab spider. No. No. No, if you're gonna make me a spider, at least make me like a cute jumping spider. If you're gonna make me a spider, at least make me like a cute jumping spider, or like one of the big fluffy ones. Okay, that's my rules. If you want to turn me into spider, I either have to be a jumping spider or one of the cute big fluffy ones, okay? The ogre for— hey, now you're just being rude to me. Spider crab. Aren't the spider crabs like the ones with the really crazy long legs? Yeah. Like I'm doing it with my arms. You can't see my arms, so that was kind of embarrassing actually. Yeah, but they got the big, freaking massive legs. Why they got legs that long? Why did they evolve to have that long legs? Like, what was the benefit of them being like that? 7 commissions later, you guys have great VTubers, just wait till Purity Valentine shows their true form and does this. Don't turn me into a Dragon Ball Z antagonist. Spider crabs are cool as fuck. Camel spider? No, what? Do you just keep on looking up like crazy? Oh yeah, I don't like the oh, I don't like that. Oh, that looks like a... That's some kind of nightmare creature, that is. Oh, one of the results is stop bullying camel spiders. My bad, sorry. That looks like that belongs on Dune. Arrakis. Sorry, Dune's not the planet. The planet Dune. What's that one crab that ate someone? Coconut crabs. Coconut crabs are kind of messed up. Why do they look like that? Why are they buff? Why are coconut crabs buff? Sorry, I hate the fact that I remembered them because they ate a person, supposedly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's how I remember them. They ate. They have burgers on the tails. Wait, hold on. I can't see. Oh my god, they do. They do kind of have burgers on their tails. What the hell? But yeah, why are they so big? Why are they so buff? Why they gotta be like that? What's the weird semi-spider that fights camel spiders again? I don't know. Forgotten as first woman pilot, remembered as eaten by crabs. I'm so sorry, Amelia Earhart. You deserve better, but here. Guy? Wait, no, those are no, those are the camel spiders. Those are camel spiders. You just made me Google it again, just to double check. Horseshoe. Yes, horseshoe crabs are awesome. I love horseshoe. They're so cute. I want to pet a horseshoe crab. I wanna go to a beach with horseshoe crabs, and I wanna flip them back onto the right side so they can walk. They're just little shuffly creatures. They're very cute. They're very cute, and also their blood is blue for some reason. They're so adorable. They're just little guys. They're like, well. Have you seen the deblooding videos where they send the horseshoe all sleeping? Like, oh my god, no wait, that sounds dangerous for the horseshoe crabs. That sounds dangerous for them. I don't know if they have predators. I don't know what eats a horseshoe crab. Probably octopus. I feel like they eat anything. Dumbest thing in existence? They're cute! What do you mean? Don't call them dumb. They're adorable. No, I like horseshoe crabs. I like horseshoe crabs a lot. They're dumb and cute and like pure. Yeah! There's a lot of cute I feel like prehistoric stuff fits into two categories. It's either scary as sin or it's adorable. What is the prehistoric isopod? They're one of my favorite things. Oh, are giant isopods extinct? No, they're still alive. But they're cute. And they've been around for a long time. And I still really want that bag that looks like a giant isopod. It's very cute. Picture of prehistoric cat with its fangs going into the human skull. Oh, don't they have like a saber-toothed tiger like doing that? Or at least they found a skull that has like the teeth marks in the skull. They are a delicacy. I don't want to eat them. Ugh. No, I definitely don't want to eat them. No. I would not eat a giant isopod. Oh, I want to pet them. There's something about armored animals I think I really like as well. Like giant isopods look like they have like the armor plating on top of them. And it's this, I think that's the same reason I really like it's not armadillos. What's the other one? I mean, armadillos do kind of have like the armor as well, but that's not the one I'm thinking. Pangolin! I'm thinking of pangolin. Pangolins are so freaking cute. I would, if a pangolin asked me to kill, if a pangolin asked me to kill someone, I would. I'd do it. Yeah. I'd do it. The little armors. They're like little knights. They're so cute. And they put their hands like in front of them, like they're polite. Yeah. Very cute. Very cute. Love pangolins. However, so when I say, I know that I can say I want a Komodo dragon as a pet, because that is one that really you cannot get as a pet. Like, even in the exotic pet trade, like, you can't really get a Komodo dragon. Unfortunately, pangolins are actually like hunted, poached, and traded in the exotic pet trade. So I always feel like I can't say I want a pangolin as a pet, because like that is something that you can genuinely do with enough money, but is terribly immoral. You know how pangolins carry their young on their backs, don't they? Yeah, they're cute. They're very cute. There's so many wonderful creatures on this planet. They should let me pet a pangolin. They should let me into the zoo, and they are like armored sloths. They are. And to be fair, I like sloths too. Them and their big claws. I'm really sad that giant sloths don't exist anymore. I think giant sloths would improve everything. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how. They just would. There's that bear that's kind of like a giant sloth though, isn't there? What's the bear? Is it literally called a sloth bear? It might literally be a sloth bear. No, not sun bears. Sun bears freak me out. Sun bears actually look like there's something legitimately wrong. Sun bears shouldn't look like that. No, sloth bears, they're really dangerous because they snuffle around in the dirt. But they're in the same places as like tigers and stuff, and so they're really quick to attack. They don't really do like the display of like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you if you get close. They just like freaking charge at you. Yeah, I think it is actually a sloth bear. Sloth bear, not to be confused with sloth. Yeah, don't worry, I don't think I'm going to confuse an entire bear with a sloth. They adapted to tigers by coming. Yeah, and some they actually win. They actually win against tigers pretty often. I wish giant sloths never went extinct. Yeah, although I think there's a lot of animals that I kind of feel that way about. I'm really mad about mammoths. That's one hell of a sentence. I'm really mad about mammoths. So obviously most mammoths were wiped out like a really long time ago. But you know, there was like, apparently there was an island, I think somewhere, it was either somewhere like Greenland or north of Iceland or something. There was some like remote island where mammoths actually still did exist, like much later than the majority of them. But then humans happened. Humans went to that island and they wiped them out. Okay. Every picture of a soft bear Google showed me like that one picture of Lemmy waking up and he's yeah. It was super. Yeah, well, that happens when they're just on a tiny little island. Yeah. But I'm mad. I'm mad that humans just went there for the first time and they were like, kill! That is kind of the human instinct. I mean, I can't, like, on one hand I understand, because obviously mammoths were huge, and getting to an island and finding these huge creatures that you thought were extinct is a bit on the terrifying side, but still. Yeah, it's also a lot of meat to pass upon, and I'm pretty sure they were quite far north, so it was cold, so yeah. I'm glad the elephants survived humans as long as they did. Yeah, to be honest, I feel like their intelligence definitely played a part in that. Obviously, it's hard to hard to do much in the face of the constant looming terror of humans, but yeah. There have been many cool species on this planet that have been wiped out. There are still cool species on this planet that are being wiped out, but at least at the moment there are also still a lot of really cool animals that still do exist. And there are a lot of good people out there who are doing their best effort to, you know, save the animals that are on this planet. There have been a lot of like successful cases of like introducing like populations back to the wild and stuff, so that's not something I talk about very often. I used to watch a lot of like animal like fact stuff when I was a kid, and obviously I also grew up with Steve Irwin. He was a figure of my childhood up until his untimely passing. So, even though I never talk about it at any given time, I'm like, wow, animals. And then I'm like the most basic cat, but you know, like, don't worry about it. War elephants was sick. I mean, they do have a certain je ne sais quoi, but like, yeah, it was definitely super cruel, but they were a legend. Yeah, Steve Irwin was a real champ. Wrangel Island. Thank you for looking it up. Wrangel. Oh, Russia. Okay, I was on the wrong side. Unless I wasn't. Oh, it's between. Oh, I see. It's just north of. Right, where Russia and the United States meet. Sad. Sad. Anyway. Humans, animals, all that aside. I'm gonna go be a basic animal and take care of a cat. And that's my part for the animal kingdom. Actually, I remember my nan went on holiday pretty recently. I normally mention when it happens because it's like the rare times when I'm able to like record covers and stuff. But she came back and she was like, "Oh, while I was gone, I adopted a donkey." And I was like, "What? Why did you just adopt a donkey while you were on? Huh?" Alright, fair enough. She's like, yeah, I got like a calendar and all this like other stuff. I'm like, okay, well, fair enough. In turn, the vibe between war elephants were cool, but sad they were used, and humans killing in pitched combat, what to them must have been literal monsters is so cool. Also, yeah. Have fun on your 7-hour trip to. Oh, it's 11 hours. It's just that 7 hours of those is just me sat in an airport. But yes, I will. Yeah, I'm journeying across multiple countries to feed a cat and sit around. It's gonna be great. I've still not decided if I will do a watch along in the Discord. It really depends on what the internet connection. I mean, it's someone's house, so I would have thought I'll have perfectly good internet connection, but we'll see. We'll see. If they're able to stream with their internet connection, I should be able to stream with their internet connection. So, whatever. But yeah, it should be fun. It should be a change of scenery. I get to look after a cat. I get to pet a cat. I get to pet a cat that I haven't pet before. Win-win. So let me close Twitch chat. Let me pause music. There we go. Alright, so yeah, I will be heading off. I'm still going to be around. Even when I'm away, I'm taking my laptop with me, so I should still have access to all of my social medias and stuff and Discord and whatever, so I won't be disappearing. It's not like I'm going and it's like you will not hear from me over the weekend. Doesn't that mean karaoke stream? I don't know. No, unsure. I'll see what the situation is like when I'm there. But yeah, in the meantime, I guess until next stream, whether that's next Tuesday or the Thursday after. Until then, take care of yourselves, get something to eat, get something to drink, get some rest, preferably, since it's going to be like a week or more, do all of those things multiple times. But until then, fly high. I mean, I'll be worried if I fly low. I'll be a bit scary. Sorry, I'm being pedantic. But yeah, good night, onyasumi. I don't know if it's a long enough flight for me to get a meal, but I don't know about that. We'll see. I will inform when I get back. Good night. Onyasumi. Sleep well. Numbers? Hi. Goodbye. Good night. Good night.